I'm Marion Anderson. I'm the convener of the Cuddy Action Group here in Peebles. And today we're on to the second day of our Meet the Species and Bioblitz challenge. Yesterday we had 140 children on the Cuddy, all looking for birds, beasties, bugs, butterflies, you name it. They were in with SEPA, with Borders Forest Trust. It was a great day, and they then came back to this tent and they started to record all the species that they had found. The idea for this was to raise the profile of the Cuddy. The Cuddy is part of the Eddleston water which flows through Peebles. Personally, I think it's a beautiful part of the town, but it's got to compete with the Tweed. And so we felt it needed a little help and a little TLC to get people interested and realising what a precious thing they've got on their doorstep. So today again we've got help from the BTC volunteers who have come round and set up the tents for us. We have experts, a lovely lady who's going to be doing flowers later on the Cuddy, and we've got some beautiful flowers on the Cuddy. Our willow worker is going to be showing people what is possible to do with willow. We're very keen to do a bit more willow planting on the Cuddy and bring in some natural species for the wildlife.
Hello, I'm Joyce Jack and I'm a beekeeper. And we are part of a project at Whitmuir Organics Farm, and we teach people how to become beekeepers. Out at Whitmuir we have an observation hive. This is a brood frame out of the hive. Now in this we would expect the queen bee to lay her eggs. The bees initially draw all this comb out, so it's actually the depth of that frame when they're finished. Draw all the wax out themselves, and once they've actually done that, the queen bee goes in and lays her egg.
Your gloves on, okay, so that you can then have your hands nicely protected as well, because what you do is you're actually checking whether everything's okay inside the hive. So this is where they live, in little frames, okay? And so you have to check them regularly, whether they're in good health, whether they're laying lots of eggs and have...
Products you get from keeping a beehive, you can get honey from the bees. You can also get wax, and from the wax you can make candles, you can make creams, you can make hand creams, face creams, lip balm. And there are many other things you can do. You can do soap. So everything that we get out of a hive is used. We need more bees, more beekeepers, and we need at the end of the day to do things the natural way and not through chemicals. The bees are a great source of pollinating. They're the best source that you can get. Let's use them, not chemicals.
Tony Coyle, and I do a fair bit of willow work around the borders. I'm trying to think of fun things for children to do today, and I'm cutting this fresh willow so that the children or myself can actually strip off the bark. The bark's very sort of pliable and it's also very strong, and it's nice and flat, and as you weave it you get a sort of herringbone effect. Like you see, you get a dark and a light. So I'm also trying to find other materials that people can weave into the willow. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, I'm gathering things.
Hi, I'm Stevie Jarron from the Conservation Volunteers. I am their Citizen Science Coordinator, and been working with the primary schools around this area, Priorsford, Eddleston, Walkerburn, and the local high school in Peebles as well, on a project called Scotland Counts. And the Bioblitz is a fantastic example of how people can make a difference in the local environment. Every person that comes out here to learn about their environment will take away with that knowledge with them. In the future we'll have a better understanding of why. Stonefly. You see those in the water just now as nymphs, and then at this time of year they all come out, and that's what the fish rise for.
I don't think there's anything different. Now they want to carry their nets, now that they're handbags.
See my worms?
The bit and have a look at what's living in the actual Cuddy itself.
Barbara Sumner. I'm the BSBI recorder for Midlothian, and I've come to help at this event today. And I'm going to go into 2 habitats, because the more habitats you go into, the more species you may find. And so we're hoping to find woodland plants and marsh and waterside plants. And in that way, we hope to boost the score of species seen today. The creeping buttercup, believe it or not, even though it's growing tall there. I mean, things grow whatever size the soil will permit, really. Teeth, which are like that and like that and like that, but all between them it's got little teeth as well. Oh, so it's got 2 orders of teeth.
Right.
So that sorts out the silver birch from the downy birch, which tends to have teeth of similar size. It's got the main frond, then it's got the side branches, and then it's got pinnules. Now, so this is the male fern. Then the other fern we commonly find in woodlands is the broad buckler fern, in which these side pinnules are divided again. It's a bit like chickweed, but the leaves are different. They've got, you see the scales on the cones? They point upwards, they don't turn out at the edge. Now, if they turned out a bit at the edge, it would probably be a hybrid larch. If it turned out a lot at the edge, it would be a Japanese larch, and if it just goes straight up like that, it's a European larch. This one has a long pointed ligule, which makes it the rough meadow grass, Poa trivialis. So that's Prunus avium, sometimes called the wild cherry. The really common sort has rather heart-shaped leaves, sort of broader and rounder and with an indented base, but these are a bit longer and more slender. Really shiny compared with some of the willows, and it looks to me like Salix fragilis, which is crack willow as they call it. Underneath there's sort of beigey goldy colour. When the flowers are out, there's a good smell, a sort of balsamy smell, but now they've got leaves out, you can't really smell that. Platanoides, sorry, Acer platanoides. And some this year's catkin, the subspecies bulbilifera. And the white dead nettle, don't think we've had that before here. We had it in the wood.
Yes.
Hollow as anything. If you squeeze its stem, you can feel it's hollow. So that's Equisetum fluviatile. This is the great bittercress.
Oh, the great bittercress.
Cardamine amara. A leafier plant, and actually, if we could get near and could stare into the flowers, we would see that the stamens are purple. It loses the purple when it's got overblown a bit. Oh no, you can still see.
Oh yes, I do see.
I'll do a bit of squeezing. Thank you. And also it's got big leaves and rather pointy. The red currant's leaves are not quite so pointed as that. We have that. Well, we had it for the other wood. That a really spiny spear thistle.
You'll get 20 pips in there, no problem at all.
What's a pip? What's a pip?
Pipistrelle bat, the smallest bat we have. Pipistrelles have moved into them. We usually find they prefer a boxy nut for a year or two and weathered it a wee bit. Basically all these are doing is just simulating what they use naturally, holes in the trees, crevices in the trees. One of the reasons why before any of the big trees come down, the local councils do it every now. They survey the trees to make sure that they're not taking away a tree that's got a bat roost potential or bats actually using it at the time. You can still, the trees can still be removed if they're causing a problem, but you've just got to go through the right procedure.
So how do they work?
They all use pick up in the echolocation when the bat's out flying and it's feeding, it's sending out signals, and the signal bounces back to show where the food is, where the insect is, the moth is, and from that it then flies in. So what these do is they pick up the sound that the bat makes. So we hear the different calls, and we say that way we can tell what species of bat we're. You get different sorts of calls when you're out.
They're called Benton's bat. The cellars of all the old towers, all the old Peel towers, so Cardrona Tower, Elibank Tower, Drockle Castle, just to see how many bats are hibernating in these. And we found a Benton's bat. Was it a Benton's bat or a?
No, it was some
a Natterer's bat.
I thought it was a Natterer's bat.
It was a Natterer's bat then, and it had been ringed in. Was it 1998, 1999?
Yes, at least.
And so that made it 12 years old. So they do live quite a long time. And I went back and looked at the books after that, and they've been recorded to be living 20, 25 years. So, but they are quite long-lived species, and which is quite remarkable, really, because they have so many predators. I mean,
what is there being predators? Birds probably would eat bats.
You're absolutely right. That's a really good answer. So, what eats small birds? Sparrowhawks, owls. This sort of thing, and they all eat bats as well. But I mean, I've seen footage of seagulls, big herring gulls sitting on top of a gable end of a house, and the bats are pouring out of this house, and the herring gull is just picking them off one by one. And
Can anyone hear what I'm hearing? Yeah. There's 3. This is awesome!
Right.
It's right above your head. Listen to that. It's definitely bats.
and do you hear sometimes it goes, and then it goes.
It just went like that.
Do you know what that's doing? As they get closer and closer to an insect,
God,
they're throwing out more and more sound, quicker and quicker and quicker, until it's so rapid. It just hears constant. That's when you get the. And that's when they're catching the insect.
Listen to him and judge me. Whoa! Around there. Look, there it is. That's 4 bats.
No, I haven't told Marion. I only just seen the word bat.
You put the other grip in a big thing here.
That's it, you're right. What have we got it set at?
It would be that interesting, but
It's interesting. I've never heard
Yeah, that's really good. You might turn it down a bit, you're going to make yourself deaf.
3. It's strange.
It's strange.
Feels like it's like a gunshot.
And do you hear it go occasionally? It's just to lie amongst dead leaves and hope that no one sees him or her.
Oh my word.
So probably best of background. So that's a lunar thorn, so called because there's a moon shaped crescent on each wing.
And it's of the thorn family, isn't it?
It is of the thorn family. This one's a bit quieter. This one Doogie and Chris caught earlier.
Oh my.
So you've got a white.
3 guesses for what that one's called.
It's got to be something with snow or something. Or
Royalty, think royalty.
ermine.
Yeah.
That's it, white ermine.
See him?
And that's a lesser swallow prominent. This one
No,
specialises
that's
in
beautiful.
sitting on birch trees, so no one can see him and no one can eat him.
Yep, you can see how that works. This camouflage. Oh, there you go. You've got them all now. Well, some of them.
You played dead very well, didn't
And
you?
this chap's called a spectacle because if you look at him head on,
Yeah.
it looks as though he's wearing a pair of glasses. He's sitting on rocks and again probably birch trees and being cryptic. And he's just having a good sniff around with his antenna to see what's going on.
Oh,
And
wait,
he's
a
thinking,
strange
I've
place.
been looked at and prodded all day.